lot of people don't talk about it, and I think it's something that should be normalized because there's a lot of people that live with it and they live with that discomfort and they can't say anything. So many pit stops. So in preparation for my surgery, I was supposed to get blood work today, but I had medicine in the morning because I've been having like a little cold. So hopefully that doesn't jeopardize anything. We were gonna get the blood work right now, but like I said, I took that medicine, and then just to be safe, we'll go tomorrow, and then I can get the blood work done. If you don't know why I'm having the blood work done, it is because I'm gonna get a hemorrhoid, or it's called not a colorectal one, I think it's an anorectal. I mean, it's in the anus. But on all seriousness, I have 2 internal hemorrhoids, 1 external. So we're gonna go ahead and actually remove it after I've had it for years. Both a relief and also a little bit nervous about it just because of COVID and everything that's going on. And that has affected me personally. So it's just like, but I am actually really happy because now I won't have to worry about the hemorrhoid issue whenever it is that I want to work out again. And I probably won't be able to because the doctor that's doing it is super sweet guy. And you know, I was telling him, I'm like, hey, like I like lifting, and it's really frustrating that it's like I can't lift as heavy as I want to because I'll always have a flare up. So without a doubt, I will always have a flare up, and it will be really, really painful. TMI. It just kind of inflames and you just constantly feel like you gotta go. And then it hurts too when anything comes out. And then it sucks because it's a double-edged sword, because then if you have a lot of fiber, like we were talking about, and he's like, hey, you're smart, you know what you want to do. So because I have those excruciating flare-ups that kind of take me out for like up to a week sometimes, it's really hard to work out. The doctor's like, you've done your research, obviously, you know what's going on with your body, but the double-edged sword is that you need fiber to have like less constipation, you know, obviously a smoother exit down there. But if I have too much fiber, then it's just like it's like knives coming, it's like on the way out. So it hurts so bad. So I'm like, I'm at an impasse where I'm like, I can't take enough fiber because it hurts me, and I can't work out the way I want to because that hurts me. So if I'm just sedentary, then I'm still like, that hurts me too. So hopefully with all of this happening, it's just a weird time. I didn't expect it to happen during COVID and all of this, but I am also worried that the Trump administration is going to try to remove Medi-Cal and all that jazz. And I hope not. But I know that they were having unsuccessful luck with that, but I still really worry about that. And it's just frustrating that healthcare needs to be paid for. Really, it's silly, it's stupid. Like, taxpayer money, and Bub, you can hear this too, taxpayer money fuels the people, the scientists learning about diseases, finding cures, right? Mm-hmm. But then the people can't even get access to that without paying. How does that make sense? Ugh. It's just really stupid. But so that's why I was telling my mom, because she's not that happy that she can't be here right now to take care of me, obviously, during that, because the procedure, it's pretty quick, but the recovery is a bitch. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. That is all I hear from this procedure. However, I do hear the recovery, like the post, like when it's like 6 months later, they're happy and they can do the things they want. They don't have to worry about the hemorrhoid when it's prolapsed. That means it's coming out of the anus and you have to squish it back in. You don't have to worry about those situations. For some people, it's prolapsed so much that it does not even go back in. So it's kind of having like a little dingleberry forever. So yes, I know it's TMI, but a lot of people don't talk about it. And I think it's something that should be normalized because there's a lot of people that live with it and they live with that discomfort and they can't say anything. And I think that sucks because our fellow humans should be more considerate of other people going through stuff, especially if you guys are friends. There's nothing wrong with that. Also, it's just scary with all the COVID. The cases have been rising here in Southern California. So that is terrifying too, because they're very much irresponsible people that don't give a hoot about other people who are just trying to take care of themselves. But that is kind of the positive of that, because I'm choosing to look at it as a positive rather than a negative, because I don't want to be bummed out about it, truthfully. And it's something that's going to help my life be better. So fingers crossed. And they're doing it very well too, I may add, because I just thought they were just going to admit people. No. They're actually providing you. You have to get a COVID test. And they're not doing the swabby one in the mouth like I have in this video where we went to the drive-through one. They are doing it through the nasal. I don't know if it's the tap back, the one that taps back there, because I had that one. Oh, that one. Oh, it feels like something's tickling. Like you can feel the cotton, the little stick. You can feel the cotton like swabbing. It feels like it's tickling your brain. Ugh. But they're gonna have us do that as well, 5 days out. And since it's on the 30th of November, by the time this is live, well, you may have already had it, because I'm trying to get a bunch of videos so that way like it's kind of cataloged on there and it's set up, because at least for 2 weeks I'm gonna be out of commish. So I'm just either gonna be like editing and uploading and putting it there, or you guys are gonna see this when it happens. If so, wish me luck, please. So, like I said, I'm going to be putting the videos up, kind of stacking them up, and at least for the 2 weeks, because that's the preliminary ones when people say that they hurt the most. Full recovery is set to be 6 to 8 weeks, so probably going into Christmas time. Look at it. So, like I was saying, at this point, I'm just happy that it's going to be done, that I'll have a better quality of life afterwards, and then I can really focus on my fitness journey, because it has been moments where I just give up and I'm like, F this noise, I'm just gonna stay like a marshmallow forever. But I also know that I can do it, so it's like, yeah, just gotta suck it up for right now. And I'm hopeful that after this, then I'm able to squat without pain, deadlift without having a prolapsing hemorrhoid. And yeah, like I said before, the doctor was extremely sweet, super kind. He's like some bougie doctor, but I didn't think he was going to be able to do the surgery. It was just going to be someone else. And then, you know, I explained to him, I told him my story. I'm like, look, this is like what's been going on. Like, I really want to get back to it. Like, I've had 2 doctors before, and this is something that I do want to talk about, because I do think it is very messed up. So before having this doctor that's going to do my surgery, my primary doctor, which she is amazing, God bless her. So I got out of that one because I'm like, I need someone else who will be able to help me a lot better. And it was just a peaceful transaction on that, or exit at that point, because I got kicked off my parents' insurance. So that's when I ended up having Medi-Cal, which has been saving my butt. So I'm grateful for it through and through. So after that peaceful exit, then I went ahead and I got another doctor. So then the other doctor I did not like him. So this was an older gentleman, older Cubano. Era buena gente. Like, I like how he was as a person, but as a doctor, like, he was not good. So he was older, like I said, which to me, I'm like, fine, if you could do it, you could do it. And if you're progressive, then okay. But he was very old school, where he was just like, okay, you're above 150, you're fat. Like, off the bat, he was just like, you're fat. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Thanks. So he's like, honestly, you should be like 110 to 120. And when I was telling Andrew about it, he's like, oh, well, he's like old school thinking.
Going off the old scale, going off of BMI, and what they think you should be based off of your height to weight ratio.
Yeah. What he said. So he was just like, oh yeah, he's going off the old scale, like, oh, your BMI and this and that. And I'm like, I understand, but then it was just frustrating, because I was like, oh, do you want a blanket? I feel like she wants a little blanket. Let me get her a little something. I knew it. I knew it. She wanted that. She wanted like a little cushion. That was her bed one, but she kept wetting it, so that's what she gets. That's what you get, you little brat. That's what you get. We washed it, of course, but... So, that gentleman, it was just really frustrating because I had gone to him like 3 times. The front desk people were kind of rude, to say the least, and left little to be desired every time I went over there. And I tried being as polite as possible, and they were still like... So, I gave him another chance. I gave him like 2 more tries. And I was like, hey, I'm still having these issues, blah, 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 etc., etc. Explain the whole deal. And he's just like, well, you're fat. And then he was like, you shouldn't be doing bodybuilding or weightlifting, anything. And you should not be lifting weights. He literally told me this. He's like, you should work on a medicine ball. You should work with, not with dumbbells. He literally told me, I was like, not with dumbbells. He's like, you should do bands. You should do just light work. And I'm like, this man is literally stuck in like the 50s. Like, like, how do you say that, you know? Obviously, I came home, I told Andrea, I'm like, can you believe this? I told my parents. My mom was like, my mom's a little worried about it. She's like, you're gonna end up like a man. I'm like, Mama, I'm not. But now she's come a long way with that because now she herself incorporates weight training. It's mostly because of Andrew, because they love Andrew and he was telling them the benefits of it. So they've incorporated it. Parents weight lift a little bit. My mom gets her little dumbbells and all that jazz. So, case in point, at that point, I was like, I'm done. Like, he doesn't even believe me. He doesn't think I have anything. He's like, no, it's not. You're fine. I'm like, I know what I feel, you know? It's frustrating because it's like, I know what I feel. So, at that point, then I remember I was just doing my research on doctors. And I'm like, I'm going to get a woman this time. Like, you know, usually I'm not one to be like that. But I'm like, I'm going to get a woman this time. Like, cool. Like, and I found this one. It was this Filipino lady. But I changed to her, and then they're like, hey, but we have to tell you she's retiring next month. And I'm like, I just changed to her. I didn't even meet the lady. So happy retirement, madame. I never met you. So then at that point, I did more research, and then I found another one who was really great, came with good reviews. But then I got her sidekick doctor, and she's the one that was like, amazing. I'm really glad. It was like a happy accident. So she is amazing, and she's the one who actually made this happen. So she believed me because I'm like, hey, I have this pain. This is what's going on. XYZ. I tried the fiber. I tried the low FODMAP. I tried paleo. Like I've done it all. I've done it all. Any hemorrhoid cream, sitz baths, everything. I have done it. Everything. The little enema like pills. Everything. I have done everything. Everything imaginable. I've done too much, and I know too much about hemorrhoids at this point. At this point, I'm like, okay, I want a solution. So, you know, I explained to her all that jazz, and she's like, yeah, like I'm going to send you with somebody to check you out. And then if so, then we're going to request a colonoscopy. So then she's like, okay, everything checks out. Cool. Request a colonoscopy. Cool. So then I go to this other gentleman who's conducting, he's a doctor, and he's conducting the colonoscopy. I'm like, okay, cool. So this guy, he's an older guy too. I tell him, you know, my story, tell him what happened. And then he as well, he's kind of like hesitant. And then he's like, older white gentleman. And he's like, you don't have any hemorrhoids. And I'm like,
you're too young.
You're too young. Yeah. He's like, you're too young to have hemorrhoids. I'm like, my good sir, my good sir, I know what I have. And I'm like, I do have hemorrhoids. I'm like, okay. So he wasn't believing me. He didn't believe me. I'm like, okay, cool, fine. And then I was telling Andrew, I'm like, wait till he sees that. Wait till he sees that. Like, you know, and I was 28 when he did it. 28, because it was like a year ago, right? I was 28. So he's like, this is, and I remember going to the operating, like the surgery center, because they have to do it at a surgery center. And he was like, you're the youngest. He's like, you're the youngest person to ever get a colonoscopy that I've ever done. I'm like, okay, that's cool, right? And then next thing you know, whew, I'm out. And then I guess he does everything. And then I wake up, and then I'm in the like waiting area, like in the little, on the, you know, you're like, doo. Well, not doo, but doo, 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 doo. I'm waiting there, and I'm waking up, you know, from the anesthesia. And then he's like, well, congratulations. Like, you know, you do have hemorrhoids. I'm like, that's what I said. It's so frustrating. So then I was like, okay, it was like that moment of I'm relieved, but also like, why do people not believe their patients? Like, I get it, you're doctors and you guys studied for it and you guys are awesome and congratulations, you know, you save a lot of people, I'm sure. But it's like, just listen to your patient. Like, I have to wonder if it just becomes like routine work for them, where they're like robots, like has sniffles, cold, flu, take shot, here, take 2 in the morning. Bleh. So, just at the end of it, I was just really happy because I'm like, okay, now I have actual concrete proof that I do have the hemorrhoids and I'm not just crazy. And then when I went to this doctor, I actually had postponed it because that's when COVID got really crazy. I postponed it, like, I did it to the max possible, and then I postponed it a month after that. So it was probably like 6 months, right? More, a little more than 6 months. So then finally I went, I'm like, no more, I need to go, like, we need to do it. And the whole thing with the election and everything was getting just crazy. I'm like, this is my time. This is my time. I've gone through too many damn hurdles. It's time. And that's what they recommended too. They're like, hey, because my mom's like, hey, maybe like you guys could get private insurance. I'm like, Mom, not right now. I was like, if I touch anything, like, I'm just grateful to have insurance right now. I was like, I just leave it. So then, excuse me, ma'am.
There you go.
It's fine. So at that, guilty. At that point, I was already like, okay, cool. Like, we already got in the bag. Let's do it. And that's where we are today. So we are like 2 weeks. No, we are how far out? Like a week and a half out. So, and I told Andrew, I'm like, I'm going to squat, I'm going to deadlift, I'm going to do everything to try to get it as crazy as possible. And I know I'm going to be very uncomfortable, but that way they can see how bad it is and kind of nip it in the bud per se. Like, no pun intended, but also pun intended. So at that point, it's like as smooth as possible. And this doctor's amazing. Like, he was so welcoming. He was, you know, and I told him straight up, I'm like, the doctors that I've seen before, they do not believe me. And they did not believe me. I'm like, only this doctor that I had, the female one, the nice one, she's the only one that actually believed me. And it's so frustrating. The other ones were like, don't lift, you're too fat. And I'm like, I understand I'm chubby. And I told him that. I was like, I understand I'm chubby. I was like, but it's just frustrating that I can't even do like something that I like to do properly because it's just, it hurts all the time. I'm like, so I'm in the circle where it's like, I can't work out the way I want to, like, you know, like I have to just like, I can either run or like do other things, but it's just so upsetting when it's like limiting. I think that's what it is. I'm like, it's so limiting that it's like, oh no, you can't do that because of what you have, you know? And it's like, and on top of that, it's like the professionals who are supposed to help you don't believe you. So, and I explained to him as well. I was like, I've done like this and that and everything, and low FODMAP on high fiber, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, I also have acid reflux. So whenever I do eat broccoli, like, sure, it helps, but then the gases hurt. And then on top of that, like when it comes out, like the whole thing, you know? So he was just very, very sweet, very helpful. And he was just like, I'm the one going to be doing it. And I'm like, so at that point, I was very happy because I'm like, okay, good. Like, you know, he knows what, because he's a doctor specifically like for gut, intestinal, colon, all those issues. Like, he is a gastroenterologist. So it's like all of that, like, he knows. And I think it's a gastroenterologist, right? I think. But it's so, like, he's just like, he knows. He, like, the regions down there, that's to T. That's what he knows. That's what he does. So he was explaining to me, he's like, hey, so you're going to be in pain. And then he's like, and I'm talking about real pain, you know, which is funny because the secretary was just like, the men tend to complain a lot more than the women. So we'll see. Andrew's like, crybaby. But he was just like, you're going to be in excruciating pain. And then he said that it's going to hurt and I'm going to be out of commission. He's like, probably 2 weeks. He's like, maybe 3. He's like, but honestly, like 6, probably 6 to 8. And I'm like, all right, what a better time than now, like, you know, with all the things happening with COVID, it's everyone's staying home. I'm like, perfect time, you know? So hopefully at the end of this and at the start of New Year, like, I can slowly get back into training. And Andrew's going to have to PT me. Are you okay with that?
Oh, I got you.
Because I don't have to go really, really slow.
That's fine. Pay me the big bucks.